Buenos dias, familia. Israel Torres here with Cat Village Studios and, of course, Caribbean American Passport News. And we have the honor of having Kamilah Perry, who is running for circuit judge. How are you doing today, Mrs. Perry?
I'm good, Israel. Thanks for having me.
Let's get this started. How about you tell me what journey brought you here to campaigning for circuit judge?
I've been a lawyer for 23 years. It'll be 24 years in January. So I started my career as a young lawyer at a big law firm, and I represented big corporate clients like UPS and Best Buy, and I was a corporate litigator. And I did that for roughly about 9 years. And luckily, around year 7 or 8, I was able to get a big corporate client. And so I took that client out with me and I started on my own practice with my brother, who's also a lawyer in Orlando. So we had a law firm. And I did that for about 4 years. And then State Attorney Aramis Ayala was elected to office. And she said, she was a friend of mine, and she needed a general counsel for her office. So she called me and she said, I need a general counsel. I'm not sure what the job is, but we're going to figure it out. So that's when I joined the state attorney's office as its executive director and general counsel. So my career really has led me on a path to the bench because it's allowed me to represent big corporate clients in court. I learned how to practice in federal court. I learned how to represent individual clients and small business owners. I represented, the young mother who didn't get her paycheck and we had to fight the employer to get it. And I represented the big corporate client who was trying to keep the paycheck from the mother. So I know both sides of the game. And now I'm on the government side. So I've been able to see prosecutions and criminal justice and some of the principles that make a good working legal system. So I think my career is ready me for the bench.
Well, you've built a career in law. What's one thing about the justice system that most people completely misunderstand?
I think most people think that the law is supposed to find out the truth. Like the jury is supposed to solve a mystery, but it's not. It really is a system that is set up so that people are not going to lose their life, their liberty, their property without some sort of proof. So people are confused when someone they feel like maybe gets away with murder, or they don't understand how this person could possibly not have been convicted, or the fact that they were convicted and it wasn't fair. It's about proof, and it's kind of hard for regular people to understand.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
Why this seat? Why circuit judge? Like, why now? What made you feel like stepping into the bench was the right move for you?
Um, so running for judge, you're not allowed to talk about politics, and that's a good thing because you don't want your judges to be biased. You want your judges to be not concerned about what's going on outside of your case and the facts of your case and the law. But what I can say is that we're in some very bizarre times. And when I was coming up, being a judge was like the epitome of success. That meant that you could be trusted with people's lives. That means that you were above reproach. And I feel like for some people, the faith in the justice system is eroding. And I have respect for the law, and I want to be a good jurist, and I want people to be confident in the law and not be afraid to, go to court and feel like they're going to not get a fair shot because of who they are or where they come from.
Well,
So I was raised like that, and I want to continue that.
well, I mean, when you hear the word judge, you think authority. Like, um, what does fairness actually look like to you in a real courtroom setting or scenario?
It's kind of like what we learned in kindergarten, like don't be mean to people, be respectful. And you
Yep.
can be direct and you can be clear and you can be stern without disrespecting people and making them feel belittled. And I feel like if people feel like you heard them and they had a fair shot and you were listening, then even if they don't win, they feel like they were treated fairly. And that's really all that matters.
That's very true. That is, matter of fact, now that you're mentioning people's reactions, because it's impactful when they go through that. Tell us about your time in the courtroom. Like, what kind of cases or experiences shaped how you think about justice today?
It's funny. What I always think about when I think about justice is not one of my cases. It's actually a story that my dad told me. My dad was a judge for years. He was on the Supreme Court. And he told me that when he went to judges college, and that's where they send you when you're put on the bench, that they gave him a scenario. And the scenario was a little boy was playing in his yard and he's playing with a ball. And he lived on a street that was like a 2-lane highway. And it was like double lines. The double lines are the lines you're not supposed to cross. So the little boy is playing with the ball goes across the street, across the double lines, and the driver is driving down the street and he swerves to miss the boy, but he crosses these double lines. So technically, the driver has committed a traffic infraction because he crossed these double lines. So he could be given a traffic infraction. But the question that they posed was, what would you do? Is that justice? Because if the purpose of the laws, not crossing the line, was to keep the road safe, and you cross the lines to save the life of a little boy, which one is justice? So it just made me think about that simple scenario. You have to think about there's a difference between what you can do and what you should do. And you have to figure out which path is going to result in justice.
Very well said. Courtrooms are actually kind of intimidating for people. I mean, for most people, especially when it's their first time and they've never been there. How do you make sure people feel heard and not overwhelmed in your courtrooms?
So luckily, I've had a lot of experience with that type of thing working at the state attorney's office. I have, my job kind of makes me the head administrator, and I manage 385 employees, prosecutors and staff, all of whom are underworked and severely underpaid, overworked, I'm sorry, and severely underpaid. And they're in my office all the time telling me about it. They're upset. Sometimes they're very frustrated, and you have to listen. You have to be able to listen with empathy, but also know that we have work that we have to get done for the community. And it's frustrating and it's hard. And I hear what you're saying. So how do we figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to resolve it? So I think I would do the same thing in my courtroom, because we're going to be dealing with people who are going to be having really bad days. They're going to be frustrated.
For
They're going
sure.
to be upset. It could destroy their lives and as they know it. So I think my work as the general counsel for the state attorney's office has really helped me be able to kind of navigate that type of environment.
Just by what you said, how you answered, I could see that you know the importance, of people's feelings and what they're going through at that moment. Um, Tell me a moment in your legal career that really stuck with you, because I see that you're passionate about it. But tell me, like maybe a case or a moment where something that still influences you at this moment, and it kind of like it's like a guide on how you approach these cases because of it.
I think probably one of my most memorable moments was helping a young football coach. He had a felony conviction when he was 17 years old, and he had served some time. He got out, he got his master's degree. He had started working at a nonprofit, and they got hired on as a football coach for a school. And then he got hired on as a teacher. Fast forward maybe 10 years, the school realized that he had this felony that they had not picked up on at the time he was hired. And they thought that this it's called a level 2 screening. So if you don't have this screening, you're not allowed to work around children. And so when they found out he had this felony, they fired him. So this man had, years and years of this career, and he was helping these kids, and he was a football coach and just a mentor, and it devastated him. So he came to me and he said, I don't even know what I can do. And he was like, I don't even know why I'm talking to you, because I just feel helpless. But if there's something that can be done, please help me. So at that time, I was like, damn, I don't know what you can do either. I mean, the employer has the right to hire who they want to hire and fire who they want to fire. But I said, well, let's figure it out. So I ended up kind of going back, doing a lot of research, trying to figure out how I could get him this level 2 clearance. And to make a long story short, we ended up asking the employer to take a legal analysis, which is to make sure to make sure that you are excluding this person based on what's legally acceptable, which is you're supposed to consider how long ago the conviction happened, the nature of the conviction, whether or not the conviction would have any impact on his ability to do the job or be around children, and any other kind of circumstances that would make it unjust for him not to be hired. And so I was able to talk to the school board for maybe about 3 or 4 months, and we got his job back. And so it kind of taught me like you have to figure out a way and don't let them tell you no. Figure it out. If they tell you no after you tried everything, okay. But don't let them tell you no before you even try.
Listen, that was a very touching story because I mean, I'd be surrounded by felons, you know, including myself, who've changed and are actually making a difference in the community. So I commend you for that.
Mhm.
Another question. You know, judges have to be neutral, right? But you're still a human being.
Mhm.
How do you balance your compassion but sticking strictly to the law at the same time?
I don't think it'd be difficult for me to do that because, like I said, I have to do that every day in my job. I have to figure out what the rules are, how we're going to make this office run effectively, while also making sure that my employees understand that I understand how hard their job is. That I know they have 600 cases in front of them. I know they're not being paid. They're not seeing their children. That they have to come on the weekends. I think that because I I have a I want to say an innate ability to have compassion. Like it's not natural for everybody to be compassionate, and I do think that's one of my attributes that I was naturally born with. So it won't be difficult.
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the Ninth Judicial Circuit right now? And how would you approach it if you were elected?
Well, the biggest problem facing the judiciary right now, really the whole criminal justice system, is money, funding. Like I think 1% of the state of Florida's budget goes to the judicial system. 1%. But we are tasked with making sure that everyone is safe, victims are taken care of, people are held accountable, and the community can live a happy life. So I think money, it impacts every aspect. It impacts how much we're paying our prosecutors. It impacts how many staff is in the courtroom, how many people we can pay to be there. It impacts how fast the clerk's office can process things because they have to pay people to process paperwork. And that in and of itself kind of backs up the system, which is, I probably would say, the second problem is dockets being backed up. And I think that being a judge, a good judge, is going to be one that's efficient. And you really just want a judge that has a history of handling business. So you want a judge that's been a leader before, that's had to manage things before, that's had to take care of things before, that's had to um, uh, multitask and not get off track. And I think that that's what I would probably make sure I would do, because you don't want to waste people's time. Court is expensive, it's time consuming, it's in the middle of the workday. People have to get to work, they have to get their kids. They don't have time to come back and forth to court over and over again because
Very
the
true.
judge isn't ready.
Very, very, very true. Now, let's fast forward real quick. It's the end of your first term now, okay? What would you want the community to say about Judge Perry?
That she was a good judge. That's it. I went before Judge Perry. She listened to me. She understood what I was saying. She gave me a fair shot. I like her.
Hey, I like her already. I like her already. Y'all go out, vote. Ninth Judicial Circuit, which is Orange County and Osceola. A lot of people don't know that, right?
Yep.
Both them counties. So go out there, vote. We got Judge Perry, one of the candidates here. I'll be seeing you at the Pine Hills Hob Nob. I don't miss that one.
Yes, that's going to be a big one.
You have a blessed day.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming to Cap Village Studios.
Thank you.